Hey everyone! In this video, we are going to practice converting between degrees and radians. Oh, it's not too bad a calculation. The first thing that you should know is that 2 pi radians is equivalent, which means it's the exact same thing as 360 degrees. These are just two different ways to measure all the way around a circle. So 2 pi radians means the same thing as 360 degrees. Typically, the equation that we see is that radians divided by 2 pi multiplied by 360 will equal degrees. And if you're good with algebra, this equation works just fine. I want to show you an equation that I use that modifies this just a little bit, where I shift that 2 pi over. I shift it over. So instead of radians over 2 pi, I multiply by 360 over 2 pi. I promise it is the same thing. That's going to equal degrees. I'm going to show you why I do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and do an example here now. Let's say we've been given 3 pi over 4 radians. This is a typical little number of radians that we could have. We want to convert it into degrees. So we'll take the 3 pi over 4 radians, multiply it by 360 over 2 pi. We have two fractions. However, the first thing that we can do is cancel out those pi's. But pi on top, pi on bottom, pi's are gone. I can cancel those out. What I'm left with is multiplying two fractions, top to top, 1080, bottom to bottom, 8. So the 3 times 360 was 1080, the 4 times 2 was an 8, and then you just divide them and get 135. Another example. If we had 5 pi over 6 radians, want to convert this into degrees. So we multiply by 360 over 2 pi. Just like before, because you're doing it like this, just cancel the pi's out. Pi's gone. We're going to multiply these fractions top to top, bottom to bottom. 5 times 360 is 1800 on the top. 6 times 2 is 12 on the bottom. 1800 divided by 12, 150 degrees. Okay, you're going to get the hang of this. This isn't so bad. We're going to do one more example of radians to degrees. This time we have 5 pi over 3 radians. There's a little 5 on top there. It kind of looks like a 3, but okay. 5 pi over 3 radians. Multiply by 360 over 2 pi. Again, the pi's cancel. Scratch those out. Top to top, 5 times 360 is 1800. Bottom to bottom, 3 times 2 is 6. Chug that out. 1800 divided by 6, 300 degrees. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So if we can go from radians to degrees, yeah, the next thing that I need you to be able to do is go from degrees to radians. We're going to use the exact same modified equation, except we're going to do it backwards. So we have degrees, we're going to multiply by 2 pi and divide by 360. This is the flip-flop. It's the flip-flop. And that's going to equal our radians. All right, let's go ahead and do an example. So we start off with 45 degrees, and we multiply by 2 pi over 360. Multiplying top to top, bottom to bottom. Okay, sure, there's no bottom, but if there's no, it's over 1. 45 over 1 is a fraction. 45 times 2 pi, 90 pi, 1 times 360, 360. If you can reduce this fraction in your head, huzzah! If you can't, though, most graphing calculators have the ability to reduce these fractions by using a command called math. You press the little math button, and use the first option is frac. If you type in 90 over 360 and then press the math button in frac, it'll reduce that fraction for you, saving you a ton of time. Don't put in the pi, just the 90 over 360. It'll be 1/4, which means your answer is pi over 4 radians. We're going to do a couple more just so that you can hear that process. But remember, that math to frac button turns things into fractions. So easy. 120 degrees multiplied by 2 pi over 360. We're multiplying by a fraction, top to top, bottom to bottom. 120 times 2 pi, 240 pi. Yeah, I know. It's a 1. It's a 1. Yeah, no, I'm not going to write it every time. 360. There's nothing there. It's 360 still in the bottom. 240 over 360. If you can reduce that yourself, beautiful. If you can't, use your graphing calculator. Press 240 over 360, Math Frac. It'll reduce it for you. 2 pi over 3 radians. You could have reduced that by factoring things out if you needed to. One last example. 160 degrees. Same equation. Multiply by 2 pi divided by 360. We're going to do top to top, bottom to bottom. 160 times 2 pi is 320 pi, all divided by 360. This is the same thing every time, every time. If you can reduce that fraction again, hooray. If not, you might need to factor it out slowly, but calculators can reduce fractions. This will help you out. Otherwise, take it out bit by bit. This reduces to become 8 pi over 9 radians, and just like that, we can convert degrees into exact values of radians. So there you go. Now you can convert radians into degrees and degrees into radians, which is everything that you should need to do for these conversions. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time.